capacity constraint. The second term was flow conservation property, and we have taken the first example of a flow network, that how flow will be calculated. So we'll see more terms related to flow network. So if you recall the last slide, we have discussed how we can generate from the flow network a residual network, which consists of residual capacity. So I hope you are able to see the slides. And this was the last slide we have discussed. Given a flow network, and if yes, is it visible? Given flow network, and the residual network of this can. So we'll do the terms that the amount of this flow node to before exceeding the capacity is the residual capacity of U, V, which is given by capacity U, V is actual capacity of flow, and the remaining capacity CU, that is the total minus value. Similarly, consider in the other direction the residual capacity in the reverse direction flow value, that is U, V. So basically, this is a very important point, that residual capacity in the reverse direction, right? The residual capacity in the reverse direction is the capacity in the reverse direction, which is plus the flow value, because whatever flow you will generate, right, in reverse direction. Clear? So here we can consider this flow network, and we have considered this path 16, 12, 9, 14, and 4. You can take any one path. The path is highlighted with dark color. So if you use this path, then we can easily transmit a flow value 4 from source to terminal, because there will not be any bottleneck in that case. So that is what you can see in the second diagram, that 4 out of 16 from S to V1, then from V1 to V3, 4 out of 12, from V3 to V2, 4 out of 9, from V2 to V4, 4 out of 14, and from V4 to T, 4 out of 4. So that is how we'll get the residual capacity in the direction U, V. If we write, it is 16 minus 4, so the residual capacity will be 12, right? So that's what we can write here. If I write something like this, CF of, if I consider S, V1, I can write like this, 16 minus 4, that is 12. That is the residual capacity in the direction S to V1. Similarly, I can write the residual capacity in this direction, V1, S, right? I'm taking another direction, V, U. It is written as original capacity, that is 0, plus the flow value. So it is 4. It is the capacity in the reverse direction. So whatever flow you will generate in the forward direction, that will be the capacity in the reverse direction. Maximum that much capacity you can consider in the reverse direction. Is this clear? So now we can represent the residual network in this way with both. You can see 12, that is this 12 is indicating the capacity in the forward direction. And this 4, it is indicating the capacity in the reverse direction. So these are the values, and that is what you will get for every element which is in the path, right? So this path is known as augmenting path. this path is known as augmenting path. And these are the capacities in the actual direction of the graph, 12 S to V1, and the capacity in the reverse direction, V1 comma S. Why I'm using the word in the reverse direction in some path, then that will also generate some flow. So that is known as the flow in the reverse direction. This is the capacity in the reverse direction. Maximum we can generate a flow value 4 from V1 to S. That is the capacity. We can generate a flow value of 4 from V1 to S. So it is the capacity of that path, right? But in some path, we will not utilize this 4 value. We will utilize part of it. So that will be the flow value in the reverse direction. So we can also say that CF V1 comma S is nothing but we can say F of U comma V. Or here we can say F of S comma V1. That is also true. That capacity in the reverse direction will be always equal to flow value in the forward direction, right? Whatever flow you are able to generate, that will be the capacity in the reverse direction. Clear? Okay, now let us understand the term augmenting path. So given a flow network G with nodes V and set of edges E and the flow value F, an augmenting path is a simple path from S to T. It is a path from source to terminal in the residual network. Residual capacity of the path is the minimum value, which we can admit along the edges of the path. So here you can see that there is a path from source to terminal. The first edge having a capacity 2, the second having a capacity 3, third one having a capacity 1. So the residual capacity of this path will be 1. Or we can say we can generate a flow value of 1 in this augmenting path because there will not be any bottleneck. So now here we can consider this one augmenting path because path is from source to terminal. It is the path from source to terminal. So one path is this S to V2 with 13, V2 to V3, 4, V3 to T, 20. This is one such path, 13, 4 and 20. So the capacity of this path will be 4. We can generate a 4 flow in this flow network. Here is one such option. Another possible option, because we can have any augmenting path. This is another augmenting path. S to V2 with capacity 13, V2 to V1 capacity 4, V1 to V3 capacity as 8, V3 to T the capacity as 20. So this is another possible augmenting path. You can select any augmenting path. Always you will get the same final answer. It does not depend on the path. Now there is one query. 4 is residual capacity or 12? And 4 both are residual capacity. So residual capacity is the capacity in the reverse direction, right? And 12 is the capacity in the actual direction of the flow network. So now, if we select any augmenting path, we have a very simple equation for that, and that is written as, which is the most important equation, F augmentation F dash. So if you select any new path, augmenting path, so F, the change in the flow value. So this is indicating F augmentation F dash. F is the original flow value, right? Here if I write S comma V1, right? So let me write the equation first. So then we'll use that equation. F augmentation F dash U comma V is equal to F U comma V plus F dash U comma V minus F dash V comma U. If U comma V belongs to original graph. So what it tells that if you do an augmentation by an augmenting path, so f dash is the augmenting path. So if you do the augmentation, then how much flow will change on a particular edge? So u comma v is your edge. So f augmentation f dash means how much your flow value will update or increase if you select any new augmentation path. So here if I consider this new augmentation path like this, so how much it will affect the edges in the path. So here I can write like this, f augmentation f dash v1 comma v3. This one such edge you can see v1 v3. So what is the original flow value of that path? That was 4. Is it clear? Original flow value in the path, it was 4. Now you are doing a augmentation. You are doing the augmentation, right? So how much flow value will increase by this augmentation? 13, 4, 8, and 20. Right? Previous flow value, are you getting the point? The previous flow value is already 4. So can't you see this line which I am writing? Yes, I have written so much, only that much. Okay. So I have to check here. So f augmentation f dash v1 comma v3. So v1 comma v3 is the actual edge we are considering in this augmentation path as an example. So what is the previous flow value of that path? It was 4. It was already 4 because it is a residual network. You can see the previous flow value from v1 to v3 is already 4. Now you are selecting this new augmentation path with values 13, 4, 8, and 20. So that will increase the flow by 4 again. So that is your new value. So f dash u comma f dash u, what we are writing here, f dash u comma v is because of augmentation path minus s v comma u. So now f dash v comma u is the flow value in the reverse direction. Is it clear? You can see that f dash v comma u will be right now 4, right? So how much we are able to increase the flow value? It is 4. That if you do an augmentation of f augmentation, sorry, this will be 0. F dash v comma u will be 0. This will be 0. Because it is the f dash. It is not f. It is f dash v comma u. It is f dash v comma u. Either you will select the path f dash u comma v in the augmentation path. Which edge we are selecting, v1 to v3 or v3 to v1 in this augmentation path? Which edge is selected? v1 to v3. In the augmentation path, which edge is considered? v1 to v3 or v3 to v1? v1 to v3, obviously, right? The path is from s to v2, v2 to v1, v1 to v3, and v3 to t. So v1 to v3 is considered, so it is 4 in this augmentation path. So either f dash uv will be selected or f dash vu will be selected, any one, not both. Both is not possible, otherwise it will turn out to be 0. Is it clear? So that's why we are getting the value as 8. 4 plus 4, 8. So what it is telling that if you do an augmentation, then how much change will be there from v1 to v3? It is 8. The previous value was 4. Now because of augmentation, we are getting the new value as 8. Is it clear? The previous value of that path was 4, but because of this augmentation path, because of the path, the update will be, it will update 8. Yes, f augmentation f dash u comma v. So that means if you find a new augmentation, how much the flow of a particular edge which we are considering. Here we consider v1 and v3 as the edge. So previous value of that flow on that edge was 4. So that's why we are writing f u comma v as 4 plus f dash u comma v. So because of this augmentation path, which we have selected right now, right? This is the second iteration of the algorithm, we can say. This is the second iteration of the algorithm. We are selecting the second augmentation path. So how much flow will increase? It is 4. So that's why we are writing that change in the flow value by this new augmentation path is f dash u comma v. It is only just the edge. So definitely f dash v comma u will be 0 because we are not selecting the reverse edge. In this path, if we select the reverse edge, then f dash u comma v will be 0. So out of these two terms, any one will be utilized. Or either second, or if it is the actual of the graph, we'll use the second term. If it is the reverse edge in the augmentation path, we'll use the third term. Okay? So the change will be 8. Is this clear? Similarly, if I want to write, so I type f augmentation f dash. Okay, let me erase this. I think you can see it in a better way. F augmentation f dash. If I write for s comma v2, right? This is also the edge in the augmentation path. So what we can write? The original flow value f s comma v2 plus f dash s comma v2 minus f dash v2 comma s. So f s comma v2, it is 0. Original value is 0 because there is no flow value in this path so far. Now f dash s comma v2, it is 4. We are getting 4 minus 0. So what we'll get? 4. That if you use this augmentation, the flow value from S to V2 will increase by 4. Is this clear? All of you are getting this point? The point which I am highlighting? Yes? If you have further query, we can add one more line. Because this is the most important equation. We have to use this throughout the entire flow network. If you don't understand this equation, it will create a problem at the later stage. Let us write for, okay, let us write for V3 comma T. So what I will write, can you tell? It is 0 plus 4 minus 0, again 4. Is this clear? Because the original flow value from V through to T is 0. New flow value because of this augmentation path, it is 4. Right? So we are taking that. So change is 4. We are able to get the new value as the 4. I hope it is clear now. Yes, can we proceed? Yes, any query to any student? I hope these 3 examples are sufficient to tell how to calculate this equation. Yes, is it clear? What is f dash s comma v2? So f dash s comma v2 is the flow value by this augmentation path. It is 4 here. S comma v2. F dash s comma v2 is 4 here. The flow value in this new augmentation path. Okay, so now based on this, we are using the same equation and we have to remember some properties of that equation. So f augmentation f dash u comma v is equal to f of u comma v plus f dash u comma v minus f dash v comma u. So now, if anyone can tell why I'm writing like this. So we are writing greater than or equal to f of u comma v plus f dash u comma v minus f u comma v. So what is f dash v comma u? It is the flow value in the reverse direction. It is the flow value in the reverse direction. So that flow value maximum will be equal to what? capacity in the reverse direction. So why we are writing like this? Because f dash u v comma u will be always less than or equal to capacity in the reverse direction. And capacity in the reverse direction is equal to what? The flow value in the forward direction. So that's why we are writing this, that it is greater than or equal to f of u comma v plus f dash u comma v minus f u comma v. This is the most important thing, right? Because flow value in the reverse direction, maximum flow you can generate in the reverse direction will be equal to the capacity in the reverse direction. And the capacity in the reverse direction we are getting. So that's why we are writing f dash v comma u is equal to f u comma v. So first and last term will cancel out. So what we are getting? F dash u comma v. So it is greater than or equal to 0. So what it is telling? That when you do an augmentation by augmenting path, if the actual edge is considered, then you will get some positive value, because augmentation will always improve your flow. It will always improve your flow. Now, if you take a reverse edge in the augmentation path, right, then for that case, for some edges, the value will be 0. That is obvious. It will not increase the flow. If you take a reverse direction, then the flow value will be 0. So the change in the flow value will be either positive or 0. Either you are able to increase the flow or it will be 0. One more property we have to consider. F augmenting comma v plus f dash u comma v minus f dash v comma u. So for that, we'll write it is less than or equal to f of u comma v minus f dash u comma v. We are removing the last term. If you remove this subtraction, then definitely this term will be higher. This term will be higher. So here we are writing f of u comma v plus residual capacity u comma v, because flow value always depends on the capacity. Residual capacity u comma v. It is the flow value. So it is obtained from the residual capacity. Clear? Are you getting this? So f of u comma v plus f dash of u comma v. We are removing the last term. So definitely right hand side will be greater. Right? We are removing that minus sign term. So now f of u comma v plus Cf of u comma v. So Cf of u comma v is what? It is the residual capacity. Right? So definitely that residual capacity will be more than the flow value. Right? So now Cf of u comma v is equal to what? Total capacity of that edge minus the flow value. Right? So it will cancel out the first and last term. So it is telling that maximum augmentation you can get, right? It is equal to capacity of that edge. So what is this term telling? That f augmentation f dash u comma v. So if you apply this augmentation path concept several times, several iterations, then what you will get? You will utilize the full capacity. You will utilize the full capacity of that edge. Right? So that's why it is telling that if you do an augmentation by augmenting path several times, at most you will get the value which is equal to the capacity of that particular edge. Clear? So these are the two important things. Now this is very straightforward. It is just a flow conservation property. For flow conservation, because both f and f dash obey the flow conservation, f is the original flow and f dash is the flow in the augmenting path. So we have that for all u belongs to v minus s comma t. So other than source and sink node, we can write this equation, because for source and sink node there is no flow conservation. That is obvious. Clear? So we can write as it is for all the nodes sigma v belongs to v f augmentation f dash u comma v. So flow conservation, right? U comma V. So that means the outflow. It is talking about the outflow from the node U, right? It is the outflow from the node U because V belongs to capital V. So F augmentation F dash U comma V is equal to, we are writing sigma V belongs to V, and then we are writing the equation F of U comma V plus F dash U comma V minus F dash V comma U. So if you apply this summation to each term, right? So we are getting sigma V belongs to V, F of U comma V plus sigma V belongs to V, F dash U comma V minus sigma V belongs to V, F dash V comma U. So this term is, instead of U comma V, we are writing V comma U. Can anyone tell why? Yes, if you can tell this. Sigma V belongs to V, F of U comma V. Instead of that, we are writing sigma V belongs to V, F of V comma U. So what this indicates, F of U comma V, it is the outflow from the node U. It is the outflow from the node U. So what is the flow conservation? That outflow from the node U will be always equal to inflow to the node U. So that's why we are writing, instead of Fu comma V, which is the outflow, we are using a flow conservation here, and we are writing F of V comma U. So that is V comma U is the inflow to the node U. So it is a flow conservation for each term, right? The outflow from the node U will be always equal to the inflow to the node U. So once we are writing that for each term, we can take this summation as a common term. So we are getting the equation as F V comma U plus F dash V comma U, V comma U says E comma U minus dash U augmentation F dash V comma U. So it is a very simple thing that it is showing the flow conservation for all the nodes, right? So basically it is telling that outflow from any node, right, will be equal to inflow to that node, right? Is this clear? So these are the three important points we have to remember. Now let us apply the algorithm and then we'll see the details. So now it is a very simple procedure. If you find all this so much mathematical, we have a simple thing now. So first, we are finding the augmentation path. Now we are solving this example completely, complete example. So this is our augmentation path. I can select any 16, 12, 9, 14, and 4. So what is the impact in the flow network? We are getting the flow value as 4. Clear? We are getting the flow value as 4. So now from this, I will generate the residual network. So as a result, we are getting this diagram. Here's a residual network, 12 and 4. You can see 8 and 4, 4 and 5, 10 and 4, and this is 4. Clear? So here we are utilizing this completely. You can see we are utilizing this completely. So only the flow will be in the reverse direction. Is it clear? The forward direction value will be 0. Is it clear? For all the remaining 4 out of 16. So flow in the capacity in the forward direction will be 12 and residual capacity is 4. For V1 to V3, capacity in the forward direction is 8, residual capacity is 4. For V3 to V2, capacity in the forward direction will be 5 and residual capacity will be 4. Is it clear? From V2 to V4, capacity in the forward direction will be 10 and residual capacity will be 4. Capacity in the forward direction will be 0 for V4 to VT, and capacity in the residual capacity in the reverse direction, it will be 4. Is this clear? So that's how we are getting this graph, the first one. Now in that we have highlighted another augmentation path, taking 13, 4, 8 and 20. 13, 4, 8 and 20. So what will the impact? We are getting the value of augmentation path, flow value, S4. So what is the impact? That S2V2, the capacity will be 9 and residual capacity will be 4. Clear? Residual capacity will be 4. Similarly, V2 to V1. Similarly, V2 to V1. The capacity will be 0, while the capacity in the reverse direction will be 4. So it will change the direction of the arrow, right? Similarly, for V1 to V3, the capacity will be 4, and the capacity in the reverse direction, new, it will be 8. It will be 8. Clear? Similarly, for V3 to T, the capacity in the forward direction will be 16, and the capacity in the reverse direction will be 4. So that's what we'll get in this diagram. Is it clear? Okay, so now here the important thing we have to observe is we are taking this augmentation path. So you can see the difference. In the actual graph, you can see there is arrow from V2 to V1. In the actual graph, there is arrow from V2 to V1, right? In this actual graph, there is arrow from V2 to V1. Now in this graph, which is a residual network, arrow is from V1 to V2. It is the arrow from V1 to V2. Is it clear? And it is a part of your augmentation path. It is a part of your augmentation path. So now, what will the impact? The value will be 4. The flow value by this augmentation path value will be 4. So what is the change? S2V1. The capacity will be 8. S2V1 capacity will be 8, and the residual capacity from V1 to S, it will be also 8. It will be also 8. Is it clear? 4 is already there. So 4 plus 4, it will be 8. Is it clear? Any query in this? S2V1, the remaining capacity is 8 because 4 will be removed from it. And residual capacity will also increase from V1 to S as 8. Clear? Now from V1 to V2, V1 to V2, it is 4, right? V1 to V2, it is 4 in this direction. So now, what will happen? From V1 to V2, actual capacity will be now 0, and residual capacity from V2 to V1, it will be 4. So if I write the equation here, for our understanding purpose, what will write? F augmentation F dash V1 comma, what is the actual age in the graph? Actual age in the graph is which one? It is V2 to V1, right? So if we write for V2 to V1, so what will write? F V2 V1. What is the F V2 to V1? Yes, can you tell? What is F V2 to V1 in the original graph? Just you can look at this picture. F V2 to V1. It is 4. Is it clear? It is the flow value. It is F V2 to V1. It is 4. So we'll write 4 here. Plus F dash V2 to V1. F dash V2 to V1. Is it there? No. It is 0. Minus F dash V1 to V2. As per the equation. Minus F dash V1 to V2. Because we are taking in the residual network this path, V1 to V2. Is it clear? So that will be 4. So what it is telling? It will be 0. Clear? It will be 0. So it is telling that if you select this path, right, then what is the impact? It will not increase, right, in this direction from V2 to V1. It will not increase from V2 to V1. Clear? So here, now what we'll write? That the flow value from V2 to V1 will be 4 because we are utilizing this 4. So it will be in the reverse direction. Now from V2 to V3, V2 to V3, 4 is already considered. So 0 and 9. It will be 0 and 9. Clear? And from V3 to T, it will be 8 and 20. Clear? Where 20 is the total. So the flow value from V3 to T, capacity from V3 to T, it will be 12, while residual capacity will be 8. Is it clear? Yes, in V2 to V3, we are already taking 4. So from V2 to V3, right, the capacity will be 0. Yes, V2 to V3 capacity will be 0, and V3 to V2, it will be 9. V2 to V3, it will be 0, obviously, and V3 to V2, it will be 9, because 4 you are utilizing. So that 4 will be added in the residual capacity. So 5 plus 4, 9. So that's what we are getting here. Again, we are selecting the augmentation path. This augmentation path. So what will the impact? How much flow value will be generated? It is 7. So from S to V2. Now the remaining capacity is 2. And the residual capacity will be 11. 7 plus 4, 11. Similarly, from V2 to V4, the capacity is 3. And from V4 to V2, the residual capacity will be again 11. From V4 to V3, the actual capacity will be 0. And from V3 to V4, the capacity will be 7, residual capacity. Now V3 to T, the actual capacity will be 5. And from T to V3, it is 15. Right? That's what we are getting. So we'll get this graph. Clear? Now from this, one more path. 8, 4, and 5. It is 8, 4, and 5. So we'll select 4 as the minimum flow value. So what is the impact? From node S to node V1, the capacity will be now 4 only. And the capacity in the reverse direction, residual capacity from V1 to S, it is 12. Now from V1 to V3, the actual capacity will be 0. And the capacity in the reverse direction from V3 to V1, it is 12. From V3 to T, the actual capacity will be 1. And the residual capacity from T to V3, it is 15 plus 4, 19. Right? So we'll get this graph. Now if you observe this graph, you will find certain important things. From this, I can generate a residual graph also. Also, you can 4 out of 4. We have utilized this. So that means if I want to go from source to T, if I want to go from source node to node T, clear? Then I have to go through either V4 or V3. I have to pass through V4 or V3. But V4 is already utilized. There is no remaining capacity from V4 node. Clear? So from V4 to V3, it is already utilized. From V4 to T, it is already utilized. Clear? So there is no path from S to Vt via V4. Is it clear? Now similarly, if we check for S2 V1, another possible path, because now you cannot reach to T from V4. It is blocked. It is fully utilized. Now if I check the path from S2 V1, so if I go from S to V1, I cannot go to V1 to V2. It is not possible directly. S to V1 I can reach. From V1 to V2 I cannot reach directly. So I have to go from S to V1. Now from V1 to V3 I have to go. But that path is also fully utilized. I have used the full capacity, 12 out of 12. S to V1 and V1 to V3. Clear? Because V3 utilized, so that part we can remove from this graph, right? Similarly, so there is no way to reach to V2, basically, from V1. If I traverse from S to V2, then from V2 to V4, I can reach, but from V4, there is no path to reach to T. So now, here, our process will terminate, because you will not get any augmentation path. Basically, it is a path searching algorithm. You have to search the path from source to terminal. If there is no path exist, you cannot proceed further. Clear? So basically, if I consider a residual network from this, you will get this kind of diagram. This is a final residual network. So there is no augmentation path possible from source to T. You can check S to V1, then from V1 you will block. You can check this. If I start from S, I can go to V1 and here I will block, because there are both incoming arrows. There is no outgoing arrow from V1. Clear? So this path will stop. Similarly, if I start from S, I can go to V2 via this. Now from V2, if I go to V1, again it will stop, because there is no outgoing arrow from V1. Clear? This path will stop here. There is no way to come out from V1. Clear? Now, if I consider this, from V2, this is the outgoing arrow, I can reach to V4. Here it will again stop, because there is no outgoing arrow from V4. Clear? So I cannot reach to T. So there is no more augmenting path left. So we have to stop. So what is the flow value by this flow network? Can anyone tell how much flow we are able to generate? So that you can see here, it is 12 and 11. So it is 23. The maximum flow we can generate from source to sink is 23, 12 plus 11. Similarly, you can validate over here, because there is a flow conservation property. It is 19 and 4. Clear? It is 19 and 4. So we have transferred successfully 23 from source to sink. Always it will be equal. Always it will be equal. Is this clear? Any query in this? Right? So basically what we have to do, we have to solve example like this. That some example is given, you have to apply this augmentation path every time, and you have to find out the flow. Clear? Okay, so now this algorithm is given by the person which is known as Ford-Fulkerson. Right? So this algorithm is known as a Ford-Fulkerson algorithm. So let us see the steps now. So what we have to do? The first two lines, very easy. For each edge u comma v which belongs to graph, u comma v dot f is equal to 0. That means we are assuming that for every edge which is in the graph, initial flow value is 0. That is just an initialization step. It is just an initialization step. So now, while there exists a path P from S to T in the residual network, always will search for the path from source to sink in the residual network. Clear? So if there is a path, we'll find out the capacity of that path, CFP, that is the flow value. It is the minimum of CF u comma v. So CF u comma v means what? It is the capacity of the each edge which is in the path. It is the residual capacity. It is the CF u comma v. It is the capacity of the edge u comma v, where u comma v is in the P. So whatever path you are selecting, in that path there are many edges. So we have to just consider the capacity of every edge. We have to consider the capacity of every edge which we are doing, and we have to select minimum from it. Why we are selecting minimum? So that there will not be any bottleneck. Yeah. So that is the flow value which is generated by that path. Now, once we are getting that, what we have to do? We have to do the augmentation of every edge which is in the path, right? We have to do the augmentation of every edge which is in the path. Augmentation means we have to update the flow value of that edge. Only those edges which are in the path we have to consider. Remaining will be as it is. So that's what we are writing here. For each edge u comma v which is in the P. So we have to select one edge from the path. And if that edge is a part of the actual flow network, if it is a part of your actual flow network, original edge, not the residual edge, it is the original edge of the graph, then it will increase the flow. It will increase the flow on that edge. That's why we are writing. If u comma v belongs to E, if that edge is in the path and is the original edge of the, both condition must be there. You can see for each u comma v in the P, if that edge is in the path, it is must. Also, if it is the original edge of the original graph, that means if it is the forward edge flow of your flow network, because it will be the addition, further addition, we are increasing the flow. So we will write u comma v dot f is equal to u is the flow of that edge, right? That is what we are doing in every step. We are increasing the flow. 4 plus 4 and 5 and 7 and all. So every time it will increase the flow. Are you getting this? Yes or no? Else v comma u. If edge is in the path, if the edge u comma v is in the path, right? That is the must condition. Now in the else part, we are taking the reverse edge. So reverse edge means what? Residual capacity, right? So if the edge which is in the path is not in the original graph, if the edge in the path is not in the original graph, so we have to consider the reverse edge, because the edge which is in the path is not in the original graph. That means reverse edge is in the, it will be in the original graph. Are you getting this point? That if the edge which is in the path is not a part of your original graph, then definitely the reverse edge will be a part of the original graph. So if reverse edge is there, then what will happen? It will decrease the flow. So it will increase the capacity. It is clear, because you are considering the reverse edge. Reverse edge means you are sending the flow back. So as you are sending the flow back because of the reverse edge which is in the path, it will increase the capacity of the original edge. Is it clear? That's why this else part is there. This algorithm is very interesting. This is what we are doing in this all the iterations, right? Once more, we are going through this step 3 to 8. There exists a path from P, from S to T in the residual network. We are selecting any one path. You can think about any path. Then in that path, there are some edges. So for each edge, we'll put the capacity. What is the current capacity of that edge? And minimum of all that capacity will be the flow value. Minimum of all that will be the flow value. So once you are getting that flow value, now we have to adjust the flow of the edges which are in the path. So now for each edge which is in the path, if that edge is a part of your original network, we'll increase the flow by the new flow value. We will add the flow value into the previous flow value, which is very simple. Now, if the edge which is in the path is not a part of your original network, then the reverse edge will be definitely a part of the original network, right? So reverse edge will be considered, and you will subtract the flow value so that the capacity of the actual edge will increase. That is what the else part is. Is this clear? So this algorithm is very straightforward. It depends on finding a path. So whatever algorithm you will select to find a path, whether you can select BFS, breadth first search, from source to sink, or you will go for depth first search. So according to that, this algorithm complexity will be decided, because remaining steps are very easy. Just you have to find the path, you have to get a value from that. So implemented based on which call you are using to like more path selection algorithm, more efficient this algorithm is. Is this clear? So we have solved just one example. In the next session, we'll select more examples of this flow network or your funnels. So that is what I'm telling. Okay, now let me highlight how much minimum flow value will increase, how much you can get the increment in the flow value, minimum possible value. It is 0 or 1? 1. Because every time when you apply augmentation, you will get some minimum flow value, right? And the weight may be 1 for any particular edge. So minimum increment will be 1. So the complexity of this algorithm is considered as the flow value of the algorithm, because every iteration you are incrementing by 1. So here in this example, we are getting the flow value as 23, right? We have got the value as 23. If this increment is step by step, 1 by 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are doing 23 iterations of this for loop, because every time you will find the path, right? If there exists a path, yes, you are getting the path. Then the flow value will increment by 1. So the complexity will be the flow value, right? Because you are incrementing 1 at least in every iteration. Then and then it is a valid augmentation path. When you select the path, you will at least get increment by 1. So complexity will be equal to the flow value of this algorithm, right? Let's stop the session here. Yes, there is one query. Yes, at V1, why inflow and outflow is not same? In which? Okay, let me share the slide again, because there is one small query. Yes, at V1, yes. At V1, inflow and outflow must be the same. It is there. You can see. Inflow is 12. At V1, you can see inflow is 12 and outflow is also 12. Yes, Ronak, is it clear? At every node, you can validate that inflow value and the outflow value will be always same. Okay, thank you all.